Welcome to Belinda's Sewing Secrets. I'm Belinda. In today's video we are going to look at the CoverMax, the Elna CoverMax, and coverhem machines are really very similar, the different brands. So you'll find if you have a different brand this will be helpful as well. This machine is a coverhem machine, so that's all it does. It does a coverhem, which is the hem at the bottom of your t-shirts, your tracksuits, and it does a top coverhem, which is used as a feature. On some of the branded clothing you'll find they use a specific color for their brand, and then it is reversible. So let's get started. So in the accessory box are a whole lot of things that you may not recognize. On the machine you will have these little spool holders, and they are designed for a reel of thread that's got a rather large hole. So that goes inside, as you can see I've left it on the spool pin, and stops the reel from shaking as you sew. Whereas a normal reel of thread has that. So these big cones of thread are hollow inside, and they do rattle, so that's what this little cone is for. There will be 5 of them. That is a thread stopper, and it goes on top of the reel of thread on the spool pin. So it goes on top, and if you're using reels of thread that are all different sizes, it makes sure that the feed off still remains at the same speed. So you don't find the thread speeding off on a very narrow reel. Okay, so you've got 5 of those. Then you have this little T-piece, and that is to open the tension on the top of the machine, the little thread guide tension, and it slides in there if you need it for when you're using a heavier thread where you don't want so much pressure on the thread. So you get one of those. Leave it there for now. You get 2 screwdrivers, one for your needles and one for other accessories that you are going to buy at some stage. And these little nets, and they go over a reel of thread, and some of the flossy threads, as you sew with them, all the thread falls off the reel, and these will stop that from happening. So they hold the thread together so it doesn't slide off the reel. And then you get this little thing, which is a needle threader, and it holds a needle with the flat side to the back. So when you're replacing needles on the machine, you're not scared you're going to drop it inside. It just makes it easier, and there are 3 needles in a row here, so it just makes it easier to insert them in the machine. So that also comes with the machine, and on the back of it is a little hook, and I'm going to use that when I thread the machine to hook the thread through once it's gone through the eye of the needle with the needle threader. Okay, so let's start looking. Oh, okay, and there's also a clear foot, a clear-toed foot. So if you look at that one, and let me take this one off the machine, and you see that one is clear-toed and the other one isn't. And then here you can see the 3 lines which indicate where your needles are. A little bit easier. But the clear one is very nice to be able to see the edge of your fabric when you're sewing. I rather like it, so I'm going to put that clear one on the machine. Okay. And they just clip on, so it's very easy to change a foot on the machine. Okay, so to thread, we're going to just open the machine up, and you'll see in here, it's a very simple mechanism. It's not a difficult machine to thread. You've got 3 needles and you've got 1 looper. And the pleasure of this looper is that this little gray button here, if you pull it forward towards you, the whole looper drops down. So you aren't trying to thread something that's stuck inside the machine, which really does make it easy to thread. Okay, so to thread the looper, you start, and you can hear a click when the thread's secured. So make sure you hear it. These 3 thread guides, as you turn the flywheel, they separate. So you want to turn it until they're lined up in a nice little row, which will make it easier for you to just thread them all together. So that makes that easy. You're going to hook the thread to that little thread guide there behind the bottom. You're going to go through here, this hole here, and then the looper, the eye of the looper. And then don't leave a very long piece of thread, this long, or even cut it off at the body of the machine. And then we're going to do that and close it. And now you're going to thread the needles. Now these machines, you can use 1 needle, and it can be the left, center, or right. 2 needles, and there can be left, the far left and right. It can be center and left, and center and right. So you've got choices: narrow stitch, wide stitch. It's not fussy, whichever works for you. But I'm going to thread it up with the 3 to start with. And you start with the one on the left. If you raise the foot, the little tension discs inside will all open. So when you're threading, the thread will go into the tension, and that's what you need to happen. And you just follow the path. And then we have a needle threader, which is really nice. Now on the flywheel side of the machine, you've got a little mark on the flywheel itself, and then you have a mark on the machine. So you just line them up, and then your needles are at the optimum height for your needle threader. So I'm threading the needle on the left. So we've got left. If you look at this, you've got left, middle, and right. So this little piece here, I'm going to just move to the left and bring it down. And what's going to happen is thread, I'm going to take it there, bring it up in front here, and lift it. And it has threaded the needle, and this is where you need this little hook, which is just going to help you to get the thread through. So that's one threaded. And then the path for the others is exactly the same. You're following the path. You're going to separate the thread above the needles. Change this to middle. Bring it down. And thread it. You can use your tweezers to take the thread through, but that little hook works really nicely. And the third one. So remember, if you're only using one, take the other needles out. Don't just unthread them, because the looper will try and use those threads, and you're going to get very loopy stitches. Okay, with the right hand needle. That's threaded. So nowadays the threads are, okay, I need tweezers. The threads are different. They are twisted and you find that they separate. And they're hard to get straight through the needle. Okay, I'm just going to raise the foot and just make sure that all these threads are in the tensions, and then bring the foot down. And then you put your fabric underneath and turn the flywheel a few times. Okay, I just need to double check the side of the machine where you've got your length setting, so 2.5, and is a normal length, so it's in millimeters, and your differential on 1, which means your feeds are working together at the same speed. And then I'm just going to put my foot down. So off the fabric, there we go, it's beautiful. But I like to use just a piece of fabric as a donor piece of fabric that I sew onto when I've finished. And there's a reason behind that. So at the beginning, you're going to find if you use a donor piece of fabric or just a piece of scrap, when you sew onto your garment, even if you sew off for maybe an inch, it will still be forming a perfect stitch before it picks up on your garment, and then your beginning will be nice and not missing a few stitches. Okay. So that's how to thread your cover machine. I'm going to thread the cover max now for your top cover hem. With the top cover hem, this thread is going to be on the top, and whatever others you've got on the machine are going to show underneath. So if you want a floss, or if you want some woolly thread, or whatever it is you want, you're going to put it onto this looper. And to get the machine to do all of this, we need to just bring the cover hem unit down. So it comes down, and it really is that simple. And I know that combination machines can do a cover hem and a top cover hem, but you're adding many little bits and pieces to do that. This machine is so easy. So the first thing we're going to do is thread it. And like we did with your normal threads, you're obviously going to test it. And with the cover hem, with the top cover, you may need to add that little piece in under there to open that tension up, especially if your thread is a bit thick. This I'm going to try first without that little piece. I don't believe I need this piece for it. Okay, so now you're just going to thread this section. Guys, you need to read your instruction books. The books are so good that, yes, seeing it done makes life very easy, but you just need to read the book to see how the supplier thinks you should use it. Okay, so now I'm going to put the thread under the foot and start by hand again, just to make sure that everything's fine. And you're just going to do about 3 or 4 stitches, and then I'm going to cut this thread off. And the book tells you to do this, so it's not something I've made up. And Just test it. And then I'm going to go onto this fabric. I said, I like going off onto a little donor piece of fabric, so I'm sewing a little way and then going onto that. And by doing that, there's your top cover. It's a little bit loose, so then I would like looser than it was here. So as I said, testing, and then I can tighten this tension to 2, and you will notice that all of the others are on 4, and that's what the book tells you to do. So this thread for your top cover is determined by the thread. So if you've got flossy thread or if you've got woolly thread, the tension is determined by the thread. So you need to just play with it a little bit. And you can also play with the stitch length a little bit. You can make it slightly longer if your thread is a bit heavy. But again, test it. Test everything on the fabric that you intend to use it. So I've tightened that slightly. It's getting better. Okay. So that's how you use the top cover hem. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel, and give me a big thumbs up. And if you have any questions or queries and would like some answers, please put it in the comments and I will reply. And Linda Lou will point out another video that is in the same category that you may find useful. And I will see you in the next video.